Think of the riders you know that when they're riding, you can't even see what they're asking their horse to do. It looks like the horse is just responding from the rider's thoughts. And I'll tell you, from the rider's perspective, it can actually start to feel like this too. So what starts to create these really subtle cues? We all want to be light with our horses, and we want to achieve that ideal of having the invisible aids. But how does it happen? I'm Callie, this is the weekly show here at CRK Training, and today I would like to explain how I see this process of developing really subtle cues, specifically when we're riding. First, the most kind of technical answer to this is through a process called fading. So fading means that we can make our cue for something, our request for something, more and more subtle. Let's take an example of teaching a young horse how to steer, how to simply turn left and turn right. When we're first working with that horse, we're going to be using the cue of our body, but we're probably also going to be using a big opening inside rein. But as the horse gets more familiar, they get more rides, we're going to have to use less and less of that big opening rein to help guide them, and pretty soon they're going to be moving just off the most subtle movements of our body. Now, again, talking about riding, there's a few things that have to kind of come together for us as the rider. The first thing is that good movement is a process of slowly eliminating all the excess. So if you're learning to ride, and there's still times where you feel like you have to really catch your balance, or you kind of get a little bit out of place, as you get better and better at your riding, you'll be able to just do the necessary movements. And that's what, when we watch riders that look so still and so poised on the horse, but yet they're still really soft, it's not that they're stiff, they've just learned to use only the necessary movements. And when we are really controlled in our movements, when there's not a whole lot of excess there, then it only takes the smallest little movement, even the smallest little movement that really is triggered by a thought, to cue the horse for what we're thinking and what's coming next. The third part of this is in learning to pick up on the smallest changes from the horse. The smallest changes in their balance, in their rhythm, in their strides. So let's take an example of a horse that tends to drift in. And one person might ride that horse and it looks like they're hardly even having to think about steering them or keeping them on the rail at all. But then another person rides and the horse is careening to the inside. What's the difference there? A big difference may be that the rider that's able to make it look effortless to keep that horse on the rail is picking up on when the horse is first starting to think about drifting in. There's just that tiny little change of balance, and the rider actually gives a little cue there. It might be just closing the fingers on the outside rein. It might be a little bit of tightening on their inside leg, and it keeps the horse straight. But to somebody watching, it looks as though almost nothing has happened. So the better that you get at noticing those little changes from your horse, then you can ask for the little corrections sooner in a small way, and the cues become more and more subtle. Thinking about subtle cues really is these three different pieces for our riding. There's the first piece of fading the cue for the horse's understanding. There's the second piece of becoming better and more stable in our own balance, in our own body, so that we don't have a whole lot of excess movements and our cues can be very small and precise. And then there's this third step of being able to notice those smallest little shifts in the horse and asking for that correction in balance before the horse is really unbalanced, is either going a lot faster, falling in one direction or the other. Those little changes can be made when they're caught early. We always have really good conversations that happen around these videos, and I would love to have you join us. If you're watching this anywhere besides crktrainingblog.com, make sure that you go there and then leave a comment and just tell me what is one cue that you would like to be able to become more subtle between you and your horse. If you would like to learn more about how to become a more stable, balanced, and effective rider, specific exercises that you can work on at home and with your horse, as well as how to better communicate with your horse through training and how to take better care of your horse, I would love to have you join me in the next free training from the Balance Riding course. There's a link down below that you can get signed up, and thank you for being here and watching this video.